Forfeit the game before somebody else takes you out of the frame and put your name to shame, cover up your face. You can't run a race, the pace is too fast, it just won't last.
Like the XCW on the phone.
Nobody's got his picture on Twitter today. That was for one day.
Welcome to our first edition of the new show for XCW Men of Honor. As you know, I'm your host, Fletch. We're joined here by a pretty elite cast for our very first episode. Let's go right down the row here. We got former 8-time world champion here, somewhat of a co-host, Hazard. We also have a 7-time champion he's been all over the place. He's been to SPW, EBW, XCW, BYWE, you name it. 7-time champion himself, Genocide, Mr. 187. We also have a 2-time XCW champion and XCW International champion, Vapor. We also have a former 5-time world champion himself. In his own right, he's been in plenty of companies himself, Cena Chris Jones. And XCW's first ever New Age champion, Carnage. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us. Today's topic, excuse me, welcome. Today's topic is the XCW history. We're gonna just discuss some things about the XCW in its past, and the gentleman joining me here have all wrote topics for us to discuss. So, anybody care to share?
I'll start. Okay, you know, I've ran my own companies. I've helped run companies. I've helped Fletch here for several years. In XCW, help him write. So, mainly, you've just been in XCW, so, you know.
Also Vapor.
Yeah.
Only been in XCW.
But you've
for
been
8
around.
years.
But
8 years.
you've seen everything that's happened in XCW. You know everything. Chris Jones has been with me from the beginning. The only way that I would let him wrestle is if I got to powerbomb him on cement. Yeah. And look where he is now. Genocide, I've been with you forever too. Yeah. Wrestled you everywhere. So, the best memory in Shelbyville Backyard Wrestling history. What is your guys' best memory? Mine, honestly, is the first time coming to XCW and getting to win the world title at Greed against Chris Jones in that death match.
Amazing match. One of the best shows we've ever had, actually. Greed that year.
Genocide, what's your favorite? It can be anything.
Well, I have lots of favorite memories of back in wrestling. I think I have 2 of them actually. Okay, one is XCW, one is not XCW. Okay, the one of XCW is starting this company up and making it what it is today. That's what that is for that one. And my second one, okay, is when me winning my first world title against what's his name? Homicide, Justin Parsley.
Homicidal Youth, Justin Parsley, Above Par. Which one do you want?
Whatever his
Fag
name.
Boy.
I guess. Whatever.
It was
his name
Homicide when you beat him. It was Homicide.
Whatever he is, that was my favorite moment was when I beat him for the world title, my first time.
I know you've only been here
Since August.
Yeah, that was.
but I mean, you have to have something that sticks out in your mind.
I mean, my 3 biggest moments since I've been here is Chris invited me to the show, Fletch giving me the chance to reffing, and then when you returned, we did what we did. I turned, became a wrestler, and then beat Psycho Circus Clown for the New Age title. I would have preferred going in earlier instead of going last, but I can't control it. I went in there and I did what I had to do and took the title.
I know you got one.
Kind of luck of a draw.
He's got plenty.
I got several.
Okay, well,
Let's try to tone it down.
Come on,
Keep it.
July 30th,
2004.
2004, when I captured my first World Heavyweight title against DTC in my first ever TLC match ever in my history of wrestling. Never had a TLC match until that day, and I beat DTC.
XCW Greed, that was another big greed. You've,
We actually had people watching that day.
yeah, you've had a lot of great greed history, seems like. Except for probably our last greed when you went against Genocide. Didn't have so much good luck.
I was sick that day, forgot to eat my wings.
I have to say, probably my favorite memory was back 2003, very first show I was ever in. And I was on the Fletch Peep show back there in Martin Estates.
The old peep show.
I missed
That's
that.
my favorite moment.
Really old peep show.
Yeah. I have quite a few, obviously, being the writer of the show, the chairman. And also, I've been a part of, I've been to an NAW show. I was in BYWE shows, EVW shows. There's a lot of memories. One that really stands out in my mind from BYWE, honestly, would have to be when DTC and Genocide had a match. And let's just say somebody got thrown through a door of a bathroom, a locked door, and hit the sink on the other side of the wall. But that was a pretty fun moment. And the switcheroo between Justin and Genocide as Kurt Acid, and they did the Kurt Angle bit. It's pretty. That was pretty memorable. But for XCW, there's so many that I can't even. Even little things that are not important to a storyline, like Cynical gave his speech at Viewer's Choice Awards while he wasn't even there, and Hazard Return is definitely one of my favorites. You got to think the Power Title Battle Royal from when the Power Title debuted, and Cynical and Chris Jones Final 2. There's just so many, and in a 9-year span of XCW, there's so many that, we could sit here for the next 4, 5, 6 months, and I can explain all these things, because, honestly, there are so many things that I've done, and so many things that I've had other people do, and it's just crazy. If we go back to talking about where it all started, the main thing that would have to stand out in my mind is what you were talking about. That's what made me remember. SummerMania 1, the main event was myself and Vapor in the ladder match. First XCW ladder match. That one really stands out in my mind. And our first XCW champion being crowned was another one. We had a big battle royal. Dylan Bostic won the championship, the very first XCW champion. So, there's quite a few things that really, make this company. And really, if you think about it, the way that this company started, we can elaborate on that a little bit. I know that that was
one of my questions, was what made you guys decide to start this?
That was also Genocide, one of Genocide's topics we were talking about earlier. You wanted to talk about the evolution of XCW coming in, and mainly, honestly, I've been wrestling myself since 1998, as was these three, Chris and Genocide and Hazard. But we weren't always all together. These guys mainly stuck together, and I did my own thing. Me and DTC and Nick Klaus.
Until I got drafted. I don't want to get on that topic.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was strange.
But no, we weren't always together. And that's one thing we definitely need to talk about. We need to talk about the evolution. From 1998 all the way to 2012. This is what we need to talk about. So, You guys have the most history. You know, how did it start for you guys?
I'll go.
Leading into XCW.
You want to do it? Or?
I'll go first this time.
All right.
Well, before I met Roddy and you know, the powerbomb concrete thing, there was one night I was bored and I lived at Loper Commons. Well, me, K-Kai, and JJ were sitting outside eating sour cream Pringles.
What was JJ's name, by the way?
JJ.
That was his name.
No,
I knew it was Tsunami and.
It was Joker.
Oh wow.
And Joker has evolved since then.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we were eating Pringles one night, and randomly, JJ just hits K-Kai in the face. Out of nowhere, just hits him in the face.
JJ was so fun to work with. He'd let you do anything you wanted to.
And so, hey, we should start wrestling. That's pretty much how it happened. And we go up front, and I live in Loper Commons. There's these drunk people upstairs, and there's this lady and this guy, and they're drunk off their asses. So we're not actually, per se, wrestling. We're doing moves to each other, whatever. And they would throw down diaper boxes, fucking plastic.
Hey, it was started the same way in XW. We were using like Coke boxes, you know, like the 24 packs. We'd slam each other on the, you know. Sometimes you get paper cut or something, you know.
Or corner the box.
Yeah.
Doesn't want to break.
We started doing moves to each other, and then I saw these guys wrestling one day. I'm like, who the fuck are they? Because I only played basketball. That's all I ever did, basketball and football. I walk over, and I'm like, this probably sound like this. You guys wrestling?
Good impression. That's what he sounded like.
Yeah.
Yeah, I said, you should let me wrestle. I know a lot about wrestling. They're like, no, we don't really need anybody to wrestle. I'm like, I really want to wrestle. And Roddy really didn't want me to wrestle. I could tell. He's bullshit. He's like, you let me powerbomb you on concrete, you can wrestle. He's thinking, I'm not going to let him do it.
I would think the same thing. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. But this was SPW, right?
Yes.
HPW.
No. Okay. What it was is, me personally, okay, started wrestling on his front porch. Okay, and it was SPW, and then we hooked up with him and a couple other people, and we started doing stuff. Then we went to Loper Commons, and we started HCW Hardcore Championship.
That's what I meant, HCW and HPW.
And then we started.
In HCW, how many of the people from that roster are either here now or was a part of the XCW?
You had Cody Russell,
Chaos, yeah.
Stingray, Chris Jones,
Tsunami, obviously, he was a part of it.
Nick Cheney.
Yeah.
You had
Ryan Logson.
Ryan Wet Dream Riggs.
Yeah.
Rob
You
Slater.
assigned me,
Rob Slater.
Justin Above Mark Parsley. But yeah, the
It's a pretty
powerbomb
big.
thing.
It's a pretty big crew. Wasn't Stephen Raines part of that at some point?
Yeah, at
That's
one
right.
point he was not part of HCW.
Okay.
He evolved into when HCW and SBW had their little thing going on where we started doing the drafts. When Chris got drafted over to somewhere else, you know, and I had, you know,
That was the split between. It was. If I'm
BYW.
right, it was HCW, and then when the draft split, it became
NAW and
NAW and BYWE. Okay, yeah.
I had-
And BYWE, I was drafted in. So
I was running with Chaos, Corruption, which is
James Miller,
no
corruption. Oh no,
different when it was Zach Van Osdolf, and I had Steven Raines come there. He did that. He didn't win anything.
But there's been quite a few of them that come in not winning anything. Joker, Reefer, they involve. Look where they get. And honestly, it's just crazy that back in '90, the late '90s, Stephen Raines was wrestling, and he didn't even make his debut in XW until 2009. So, I mean, there's a big gap there. Stephen Raines didn't wrestle. He didn't do anything for a while.
And then, well, of course, I took the firebomb on concrete. And
Became Y2J Chris Jones.
No, we became Joker.
Yes.
We're supposed to win the first ever Battle Royal.
Yes, we actually drew names out of a hat, and my name got one. So, I got this. So, the match started off, I was the last entrant to come in. I left and went to Blimpies. I left and went to Blimpies. Was eating. It was when Blimpies was next to Marsh or whatever. Left, ate there, came back, and Ryan Loxton had just went in, and then I was next. I ran up there, I just started eliminating people. And then it came down to me and Roddy. I didn't have any muscle back then. There was no way I'm throwing him out. So he picked me up and threw me, and I caught onto the side of the playground because I was supposed to win. And then I was confused with what was going on. Then eventually we wrestled for a little bit. He just threw me, and I just couldn't grab on, so I lost.
Yeah, but you gotta admit though, you losing has evolved into something completely different, or else you'd still be Joker.
Alright, so let's talk about, this mainly comes to Chris, myself, and Genocide. Well, Hazard went off and did an AW. We stuck with the BYWE, unfortunately.
Yes.
And, you know, I had my own team, which is a complete rip-off. I had the New World Order for a while. Myself, Nick Klaus, DTC, Rob Slater. We split off. It became me, Nick, Blaze, and DTC. We had the Virtual Killers, which is where VK came from. So, I mean, that's something that I'm sure that some people didn't know. Cynical is the one that actually came up with the name. Cynical wasn't even wrestling with us at the time. Me and him were just sitting around bullshitting one day. I'm like, I need a team name for myself and DTC. And he was like, well, you guys are the Virtual Killers, you know. So it stuck, you know. Justin was, you know, he was recording the shows, and that's what kind of came about with that, you know. He was like, oh, well, you guys are Virtual Killers. And so that the VK was born in the BYWE. But my stint there was short.
Getting fired twice in the same show?
Yeah,
I'm sure that's possible.
and honestly, it was for the better. And this is where evolution of XCW started, Genocide, correct? 2003.
Yeah.
Actually, it was towards the end of 2002 when.
Yeah, we were tired of Parsley and everything. We're tired of the BYWE crap. He kept putting himself over. He kept putting Rob Slater over, or he kept putting me over. Which,
Flamer or Aaron X.
Yeah, which. Okay, I didn't mind winning, but it's like it was always mostly us and not the other guys,
Right.
which I did not like.
I never got put over.
I know. I was there. I seen.
And
I think you lost a match to Corruption when I was there.
Oh God.
Yeah, he did. He lost.
He powerbombed in picnic table type thing.
Yeah. I also remember the Corruption DTC match with the mini trampoline. Yeah. Horrible. It was not a good show.
That's like the only way he could do anything. He's like he had to run,
DTC had to jump on the trampoline. That was the only way he could do a move to Corruption. I mean, let me go ahead and mention the fact that during all this, none of us were trained. None of us knew. I mean, none of us knew what we know now.
Right.
And you know, that's something else of this show that's come a long way. You watch a BYWE show if you can get one. We're terrible. There's nothing good about those shows. I mean, NAW wasn't videotapes at all.
I remember showing that while we were in school, in study hall.
Yeah, I do. I remember
Harper's
that.
class. I remember that.
But there was nothing good about
No.
BYWE. And that was one of the things that we strived on in XW. We wanted to make sure that we tried to get the best product we could. And actually, that's what got us to being trained. That's what got us to where we needed to be. So, can you go ahead and to a little bit of detail of how it all came about with XCW, how it started?
Yeah. Well, we you know, like you were saying, we were talking and all that, wanting to make something better because we didn't like the BYWE crap and everything. We're like, what can we do to make ourselves better and to make the better wrestling show here in this town? And that's how we thought of XCW. Thought we needed doing shows and everything.
Our main thing first was a roster.
Well, roster, yes. But we had you, we had me, and then we
We acquired Vapor and
Vapor.
Bull God.
yeah, then we got Dylan.
We got
And
Dylan Bostic,
Nick Klaus.
Nitro Boy, Nick
Yeah.
Klaus, DTC,
It was Spitfire too, wasn't it?
Spitfire, yeah. No, not Spitfire, I'm sorry, Nitro Boy.
Oh, okay.
Nitro Boy.
Well, we had all these people at the beginning and all
Enrique
that.
Lowe.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
And we had all these people at the beginning at Martin Estates. I remember those were fun times.
March 8th, 2003 is when XCW started.
Yep. And then we did our shows and all that and everything. We progressed over the years, and we started getting bigger and bigger with requiring more people. Like we had Chris Jones, we had Hazard. We started getting more and more people.
Well, I mean, we acquired people over time. We also acquired, certain things like very first match in XCW ever was actually a table match. It was the very first match ever, and it was a match between Psycho the Circus Clown and Nightmare. That was what kicked off XCW, and there was quite a few people there actually.
Mm-hmm.
We had our own ring announcer. We had Bruce the Truth Basie.
God, I remember that.
He was the announcer.
Rooster Trick.
It started off with that in a table match. Nightmare won the match. Choke slammed Psycho Circus through the table, but was surprised by Eternal Darkness. Eternal Darkness was the third character introduced into the XCW. He showed up. They actually had a match, like a King of the Hill type of match. There was Mulch. Nightmare and Eternal Darkness fought on top of it.
Oh, that's right.
Then Peep Show came next. Vapor was on the Peep Show for the first time. Then we had Donnie Dark and Enrique Lowe. We had Nitro Boy and Brendan Babane Stickle. We had Team Rain, Vapor and Kurt Acid against Fletch and Blade.
We were the first tag team champions.
Yeah, that was for the first tag team championship. Then we had the Battle Royal at the end of the show, where Dylan Boston became the first champion. And has his career taken off or what? But all of that, things got progressively better. More storylines. Different things came about. The Cruiserweight title was introduced. Part of the way through the season, we had an international championship, the XCW championship. A lot of the same of what it is now, except it was just the XW International and Tag Team to start, and then Cruiserweight later. By the end of 2003, we acquired a few. We had Hebrew Hammer, and Hebrew Hammer and Hazard came in at the end of 2003. Hazard debuting at Halloween Havoc of 2003. So
When he had hair.
yeah, and there's a funny story behind that. Is the first time me and Hazard had ever actually been around each other. And Hazard, we hadn't even spoke. And how did you get into the XCW?
I was out, doing my thing with NAW, and it's weird. At NEW, back then MCW, I was sitting there and I was talking to Genocide, and he's like, "Hey, I got a question for you." And I was like, "What?" And he's like, "I got a guy who's running another show in town, and he's wanting to know if you wanted to join up." And I was like, "Why not?" So, NEW runs its course for 2 more weeks.
Yeah.
And then I start going in to XCW and team with Hebrew Hammer.
Yeah, I had a few there shortly with the Lucifer.
Yeah, the Lucifer thing was...
They were rekindled a year later, almost to the day. And, his first match was against the Lucifer.
Come in... That's actually one of my favorite feuds, really. I come in... It's one of the few first actual good feuds... Well, not good, but one of the first actual feuds XCW actually had.
Yeah.
That involved actual promo of me coming in and running Lucifer over with the car and then FUing him, and then it's so weird how it started. It wasn't actually supposed to even start like that. That's the funny part. Me and him were tag team champions. Comes in, one of the best matches ever. Dylan Biohazard Bostic and Zero versus Lucifer and Hazard.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite. Up until honestly, I can say this. Tag team wrestling really hasn't been a big part of XCW since early 2004. I mean, you've seen a lot of tag teams at the beginning with the Blackout Inc. and Team Rain, myself and Blade, Dylan Bostic. There's a lot of teams there, and then the Virtual Killers too, VK2, me, DTC, and Cynical. You've seen a lot of teams in the beginning of XCW, the first few seasons. The tag team division really died off big time in 2004. And I gotta say that since the beginning of XCW to 2004, the best tag team match was definitely that one. But from 2004 to 2011, we hadn't had another tag match like that. And I gotta say that the match with James Cerebral, Chris Jones, and the two of us was probably one of the best. There was so much chemistry. So much chemistry with all of us, and the match just went perfect. The crowd loved it. They were into it like crazy. I couldn't get the tag. I finally got the tag to Hazard in his first match back. And you're expecting something big out of Hazard. You're expecting, the wrestling psychology in this match was brilliant. The heels keep me down. I can't get the tag. When I do get the tag, Hazard comes in, a ball of fire, only to be shot down by the referee, who, Chris Jones had in his pocket the whole time, and who would have seen that coming?
It's a big pocket.
And
Especially when he super kicked me 2 or 3 shows.
right. But what were your, let's go ahead and talk about that a little bit. The tag team, kind of being resurrected this past season. What do you guys think? What were you guys thinking going into this match with the three of us and James Cerebral,
Well,
and also you?
I mean, I had been away for a year. You guys have got to wrestle, a whole season. I was scared coming in, being rusty, not being able to go out there. And,
Never working with James Cerebral has got to be a big factor.
But he was trained by you, so, I was a little safe with that. But, coming in, I've worked with Chris countless times.
So many that you can't even count.
Chris Jones, Hazard, you name it. But there's so many times that, I've worked with Chris Jones, so I'm used to it. But I was so scared coming in that there's going to be ring rust. I'm not going to be able to go out there and perform like I used to be able to do. I put on a lot of weight, which I still have. But I went out there. I just knew in my head, go out there, just do like you.
And it was such a big deal, that show. All or Nothing this past year was, an All or Nothing, not even being, when you think of XCW show, what do you think of? I think of Summermania, Extreme King, Sin, Greed.
My big
Halloween
thing
Havoc.
is Greed. That and Halloween Havoc, because one, it's where I made my return, or that's where I made my debut.
Halloween Havoc, yeah.
Halloween Havoc was the next show. Right after I came back, that would have been ironic if I would have came back and actually been at Halloween Havoc. And it was just, but
what were your thoughts coming in? You didn't know what to expect. This was something all new to you. You didn't have, James Cerebral was already a season in, and the three of us. What were your thoughts coming in as somebody who wasn't exactly familiar with this kind of territory in the show?
Well, some history. I love professional wrestling. I've watched wrestling since I was knee high. I think it was 01 when I met Benji. Me and Benji went to NEW shows a lot.
Yep.
Went to
So did
NEW
I.
shows.
Yeah, we all did. Honestly.
Benji actually helped train me to start out when we were talking about trying to make a company back in 01. And then I moved back to Knightstown, and it faded away.
Vapor knows all about Knightstown.
yeah, you've been very quiet over there, speaking of which.
Well, because some of those, well, right now what you guys are talking about, I was still away at this time, so it's kind of.
He's got one.
And then I meet Chris Jones. He said, I think I started the conversation about wrestling when we were talking while I was smoking.
Because we were at that game show, and I mentioned, where you been at? Because I showed up late because it was a Saturday. Like, man, I just jumped off a roof. What the fuck you jump off a roof for? I was like, wrestling. He's like, oh, you wrestle? And I'm like, yeah, you should come watch a show. And then
And I come to a
Very
show.
first show, Chris, I got somebody coming to watch. I'm like, awesome. I love to have people
It's
there.
the best feeling in the world.
That's right.
Having someone watch you.
And, as the day progressed, I'm like, wait a second. I don't have Papa Woody here.
Papa Woody.
Brandon,
Good Lord.
Brandon Jacobs was nowhere to be found.
In
What am I
jail.
going to do for a referee here? And Crisis' brother was coming to town from Louisville and said that he would ref. And I was like, great. And I knew that Carnage wanted to get into the show, so that's pretty much all she wrote. I'm like, being a longtime fan, get with Genocide and myself, we'll get with you, and we've been on the indie circuit as referees for a number of years, and we can get you, set before the show even starts, the same day. And he went out there and he took us by storm. Awesome ref.
That's one of the best things that make a best character. Is somebody that at least knows what's supposed to happen in the show.
because
If you would go out there and you know absolutely nothing, if you're completely green, I've never even watched a freaking video on YouTube of what to do. There's nothing there for you.
Nemesis?
Great example.
I've trained people that have never, even watched wrestling on TV and tried to teach them how to be able to wrestle. And then I've trained people that, watch wrestling for years, and it is a lot easier.
And honestly, one of our best wrestlers in XCW was never really a wrestling fan until XCW. That being Cynical. Cynical was never really into wrestling.
Yeah, that's all
And then
he
he
ever
joined the
talks about.
XCW, and XCW was his life for 6 years. Yeah, and when you could tell he got a little bit of this in 2007. But no, Cynical, and he was one of the easiest people ever to train, and he was one of those naturals. But your main thought going in?
I was nervous. I really was. Here you give me the chance to ref, and I ref 3 shows, and now you're giving me the chance to turn and be a wrestler. And it was just, this year has been a dream come true. It really has. I'm not as young as I thought I would be when I first got into this. I'm a little old. I probably only got a couple years, and then I'll manage or whatever you want me to do.
We're all falling apart. Imagine how we feel with 13 years in.
But I was
And
nervous.
9 years for Vapor, so.
I was really nervous, and I got told by Benji, you, Roddy, it's just go with the flow, let it happen, and it'll be all right. And I haven't seen the match. I'd love to watch it, but from what I saw, my perspective, it looked just fantastic. It was.
It's really well
in the
played
crowd,
out.
We had a crowd that was on me the whole show. For
Right.
And then
A crowd that got involved with us
Yeah.
attacking them.
Yeah.
And it was amazing. I loved it.
I don't know. This is kind of something that I just want to ask. This is XCW.
Mm-hmm.
XCW family. We've been saying that a lot here lately.
Especially on Twitter, yeah.
And now that you're in XCW, is there something that you would change? And if so, why? That's just something that when you're talking about this, it's one of those things, XCW. Is there something that you would want him to do different that it would just make it even better?
Past or present.
Either.
Nah, just in general, is there something that you would change that you would just want something to change?
Well,
Go ahead. No, you go ahead.
well, me personally, from the evolution of, like, you were mentioning the tag teams and stuff. Looking back on it, I think the dumbest thing I ever did was in that big battle royal over in, God, where was that? Behind McDonald's, where Cynical used to live. Can't remember. Water Dance.
That was the
When I turned on Genocide and on.
That was actually a 4-way tag team match.
Yeah.
But when at the end of our match though, did it happen?
Yeah.
Okay, it was the end of our match.
Yeah, because we had the tag team, the 4-way tag match.
Yeah.
It was Team Rain, Fletch and DTC. We had MILF Hunter and Corruption,
and
then
Hazard and Corrupt, Hebrew Hammer. Okay, but then we had me and him for the title. Was it winners for the title? And I washed him out those so much.
Yeah.
I hate those. And
only because he loses.
anyways, and you know, we had the match and everything and all that, and you know, we were a tag team, and we had a manager by the name of J-Town or J.
Reruns, whatever you want to call him.
Yeah, whatever.
Mr. Goodbody or whatever he's calling
And
himself.
then, you know, they were helping me up and all that, raising my hand and everything, and all, next thing you know, I'm being attacked. And then it's the start of...
And that was actually something that wasn't originally written.
Nope.
I did not write that in the show, nor did I want it to happen. It was kind of a...
But,
and no pun intended on the name, but it was kind of a corruption of the show by Rerun. That was not supposed to be that way.
but you gotta agree, it made something good out of it.
It did make something. The BOI VK3 or VK2 and MPG feud was just amazing.
But it just
I mean,
would've been
the
like-
BOI, you know, and Genocide, poor guy, he's stuck
I
in
was
the
by
middle of all the
myself.
teams. Got MPG here, VK2.
But it just would have been like, what would have happened if I never would have turned on him? How things would have been different.
I think tag teams would have been like this a lot today. Till today. That's what I think it would have been.
Man,
And it's kind of coming back with the VK3 and the Untouchables.
Mhm.
Right.
But that's just one thing I would have changed was that never happened, just because of how things would have turned out.
Yeah, the tag team scene ended up being dominated by past characters.
Cruiserweights.
And Cruiserweights also, yeah. You see a lot from, you know, like Nightmare and Devil. We had Aces High. We had Hispanic Chronic. And you got to say, Hispanic Chronic is one of the most successful teams in XCW. You know, when you think of tag teams and you think of success for the tag team titles, the first thing that comes to mind to me is Tortured Souls with Nightmare and Devil, and Hispanic Chronic with Grim Reaper and LOL. Two huge successful teams.
Aces High is starting to make their presence known in
See,
tag team division.
that's something that I think should also be changed. Is my thing of is characters. Is characters need to be built more, and all that. They need to show themselves more and make themselves better and all in the
That's
show.
not mainly
that-
him though. That is
No,
the
I'm not-
person
no, I'm not-
doing that.
no.
Because when you go after Nemesis, goes out there and just
Let's,
Nemesis. If you would have given Chris Jones Nemesis, you know how that would have been Chris Jones.
Right, but I'm not saying that's him in general. I'm saying it's in general altogether that needs to be changed.
And I think that a lot of the times when people use their character, they forget what their character is. And that's something that, you know, that people in general in the show need to work on. And if you guys can, you know, if you guys can be like, hey, this is what you need to do to build your character. You know, did Nemesis play his character? Hell no. If Nemesis wanted to play his character, then he would have been like, hey, Fletch, I think I need to have a promo. Okay? And, you know, this is what I need to do to build my character. You know, Vapor, his character's full. I mean, Lake Erie, leg submission, you know, and he's from Lake Erie. Vapor Water, Team Rain. You know, his character, full. And nobody knows character better than him. Chris
I was
Jones.
about ready to say Chris Jones. This Chris Jones gimmick is not a gimmick.
No.
It's the real life Chris Jones.
It's Chris.
I've known Chris my entire life. Well, not my entire life, but main of my life.
Yeah.
I've known Chris Jones. This is the Chris Jones gimmick. He is not playing a gimmick.
But there are a lot of people that do have gimmicks that don't follow their gimmicks as
They
well.
don't put the enthusiasm into it.
Right, like, I've gotten a lot of compliments on my character. I mean, let's face it, I'm not my character at all. I come out, bounce around, and act like a complete moron. But that's my character. That's what I even did that as a heel. You know, I come out, and I was arrogant with what I do.
Right.
You know, what I do now, amped up, you know, pretty much with a mean face. And when you think of characters, another thing you think of is the Canadian Army Incorporated. And that I can honestly say, there's been many teams, you know, Untouchables, VK3, VK2, Blackout Inc., New Power Generation, but I honestly can say, and this is strange, but my favorite team in XCW history is the Canadian Army Incorporated.
You want to know why? Because the best person ever cutting promos was in that team. Cynical. That dude could sit there and you could give him a topic and he'll ramble on about it. Really, who grabs a light bulb and says, I'm practicing my pain tolerance?
Right.
But before
Cynical, Tommy Merriman, Grim Reaper, those are three people that come to mind when you think of promos.
But before the promo even starts, like, he hates doing it. He thinks
He
he's
does.
terrible. And then he goes out there as soon as that
I don't know
camera's
what to
on.
say,
It's
I
like,
don't-
boom, he knows
I
what
mean,
he's
really,
doing.
who could put a phone going into their pocket and it start playing again? And he pulls
Most
back
people be
out
like,
and
oh shit, you know, and
he
no,
goes,
he's like,
he goes, no, I just really love this song.
you know,
I mean,
and it's innovative, you know,
think
it's
about
something.
it. Think about it. Who was the worst person that could promos when they first came in? Now look at him.
Probably the worst at cutting promos now would be Vapor, and maybe Carnage. Neither one are very good
And
at
someone
promos.
else that is very good at playing their gimmick when they come out is Crisis. He comes out, gets in your face, screams at you.
The only issue with Crisis is Crisis has more to his character that we don't know yet. He's based off of another character. There's a wrestler named Jake Omen, which a few of you know, and his character's based a lot off of that. You know, the end of the world, and he's a Crisis. And we haven't seen much of that character. That's not saying that we won't in 2012.
While we're on the topic of Crisis, I want to pitch an idea. Carnage and Crisis versus.
You never know, 2012.
2012 is a whole new
We
season.
want them tag team titles. Just saying.
It's gonna be a crisis. It's gonna be a Carnage crisis, and it's gonna be a virtual killer crisis.
You got Carnage, Crisis, and Hazard.
And then Fletch.
Yeah.
You're like, ball.
But
myself.
back to Roddy's question. I want to say trim the fat, but we need more reliable people. People come and go. I've seen people show up, not show up.
If you could only
Show up,
see
not
the
show up.
roster from 2003 to now,
And
And,
how much is expand,
Like
drop,
this.
expand, drop?
And
It's
I
like a
think
curvy
there's-
woman.
there's a couple people that I really
or
don't
faulty.
know why they're there. I know Max is a big dude, but I really don't think.
Well, see, this is the thing about Max.
Max has come a long way.
Max has come a long way, and Max is not a character that's supposed to go out there
He's
and
a collie.
yeah, he's not. He don't take bumps. His main purpose is to be forceful.
Go out there and destroy you and
But
walk
he
out.
just had. I don't see any personality with it though. I
He's
want to see some
it's
personality.
the personality
with
that
it.
he has now. He didn't have when he started.
No.
Watch a Max Destruction match in 2010 season.
Yeah. The personality he had back. I get more personality when I take a shit than what he had back then.
Yeah, that's true.
But Max has come a long way.
Yeah.
And with that being, it's almost still like his rookie season this past year.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, he had been there all of 2010 and coming into 2011, but you also got to think that he was also dragging around Nemesis most of the year, and working tag teams is not an easy thing. I mean, tag team is a difficult
That's where I make
situation
my
as a
stars,
wrestler.
Is tag teams.
Especially, alright, I know most people, you want to have the best people as your partners, but a lot of things can, like, you can come about a tag team better. Like, I always did want to team with Tommy Merriman. That's something I know that if me and Tommy Merriman ever had a tag team, two big egos on the same team. I'm not saying like we would conflict with each other, but we're both fighting for camera time.
It's not just that, it takes away from the show in general.
Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause
You team you
the
two
big
up,
guys-
that takes away from a Chris Jones, Tommy Merriman feud.
Just like even though Fletch and Hazard are partners. And when people are partners and they're really good people, it also I think when you're in a tag team, your character gets toned down a little bit because you can't
Right.
do as much crazy stuff.
And you also got to think that, you know, being in a tag team limits you to what you can and can't do.
Yes.
With us as a tag team, you know, what's that going to put us in, you know, who doesn't want to be the XCW champion? You know, and with us being the tag team champions, are we going to have that opportunity coming up in 2012? You know, are we? If Hazard has a better chance being Money in the Bank winner, but I mean, really, are we going to have the opportunities to do that, or are we going to concentrate more on the tag team? And the tag team division is being rebuilt right now, and that's something, you know, we haven't seen top guys like us here in the tag team divisions lately. You know, it's, you know, cruiser to mid card that we see focused on tag team division, and it's coming up in the ranks again. But you know, will we see more of the tag team? Will it evolve? Will it be more of, you know, is there going to be more storyline with tag teams? It takes, and honestly, yes, I may write the storylines, but it takes the characters in the show. It takes all of you to come up with ideas for, you know, the stuff with Tommy Merriman didn't happen overnight, and it wasn't all me that said, Tommy, you're going to go and beat up Chris's dad, and, you know, and then you're going to talk to his girlfriend on the phone, and she's going to turn on Chris.
Yeah.
And then so on and so forth. You know, Tommy, you're gonna cook Psychor's dog this week. You know, more came from that. Juices were flowing. You know, he's like, okay, you know, I did come up with the idea. Let's cook Psychor's dog, and you know, this is the promo leading in. This is the build on it all. But Tommy Merriman is the one that said, let's amp it up a little more when he finally does defeat me for the International Championship. Make it a dog collar chain match. That added so much to that storyline, the fact that he cooked his dog, and by the end of it, they were in a dog collar chain match. You know? And that's something
I feel like you put too much of the weight on your shoulders, though. I feel like maybe we need to start like a board of directors. Like, we need to have a sit-down discussion of what the next show is going to be, so that you're not worried and stressed and coming up with last-minute ideas. That's just my opinion. I don't know how you guys feel on that.
I agree to that.
Most people don't realize, but this doesn't involve character thing. I actually came up with the idea for Tommy to beat up my dad, which is honestly my uncle. I came up with the idea. It was Tommy's idea to put a naked baby picture in there. That had nothing to do with me.
But there's things that evolved, you know. Would the feud? Okay, let's talk about Hazard before he left. Would Hazard's and my storyline have been what it was without Hazard burning my 401k papers? You know, that was a big build leading in to Deathmatch 4. Was the fact that I was injured. Chris and Gerke had injured me. The doctors told me to stay out, and my ankle is to the point where I should not be out there. And probably the same, you know, I could take one good headshot and boom, I'm Little Nicky for the rest of my life.
You had to bring that in.
But, you know, it's all of our jobs to keep each other safe. And
It's the number one thing I say whenever I'm training somebody. Number one thing is trust and safety.
Speaking of like death matches and stuff, I want to bring up another topic. I want your guys' opinions on your favorite concept matches. That's there.
obviously, Chris's is TLC.
I love TLC. Everything about TLC. But I think I'm partially mentally retarded, to be honest, okay? Who really volunteers I'm gonna set this ladder in this truck and I'm gonna jump off of it. All right.
It's true. Yeah.
And most people don't realize is that Josh Fletch doesn't actually say, okay, you're gonna go in and you're gonna do this death match. You're gonna go in, you're gonna get hit with this fucking barbed wire 2x4. You're getting set on fire. It's not like he forces us into this. This is all a choice. Chris, would you like to have a TLC match? Do you care to have a flaming table match? It's not like he forces us into anything. We just volunteer to rip our bodies apart.
What's your favorite concept match? I know you haven't really been in many.
We've never had a bra and panties, just letting you know. I've been here forever.
The only ones I've seen are what, King of the Mountain,
The Money in the Bank.
Money in the Bank, Flaming Table.
Why don't you go on, if there's one that we haven't done yet,
Yeah.
that you've seen, that you think would be pretty cool for XCW to do,
No Viagra on the pole.
you'd have to win that.
There's been so many concept matches in XCW too. It's.
I really don't know.
What's your favorite, Vapor?
I would have to say
You've been in quite a few.
probably just ladders, just ladder matches. I like them. I don't know why, but I mean, like, just the thrill of, you know, two people out there or multiple people out there and just climbing up a ladder and it's hanging right there and you get so close to it. And
And you
then
also have to
so
think
many-
about a ladder match and how there's so many different concepts of a ladder match.
Mhm.
You know, with a table, you got two types of table matches. You got your regular table match, and then you also have, you know, there's the tag team table, which I don't consider anything different. But you have your typical ladder match. You put your opponent through the table. We also have a flaming table match. You know, what else is there with a table? That's it. I mean, there is TLC, but one thing you got to think about a ladder match. There's the King of the Mountain. There's the Money in the Bank. There's a ladder match, and there's different ways of making a ladder match.
Mhm.
You know, the King of the Mountain is said to be something like a reverse,
Like,
ladder
it's
match.
just that thrill of climbing up there and knowing you're so close, and then somebody attacks you, and then they win it there, and then you're just like, holy shit, it's so close. Or just the thrill of you winning it yourself, and you're up there, and you're holding it above everybody laying out, and you're just like, holy shit, I finally did it.
What do you think, Genocide?
So
I have-
matches.
Soap matches.
No, I have two. Okay, one that I do like that we have done, and one that I wish we can do. Okay. The one I-
Obviously, cage is the one you wish that we could do.
yes, that's
The
because,
cage match would be.
That'd be awesome.
because we almost did that,
We
and
did.
that fell through.
Cages aren't cheap.
Yeah, no. And the other one is
This company is.
my specialty. My specialty match.
Submission?
Submission
Evening
matches.
gown?
No, not evening gown.
Ultimate
That's
submission.
his.
Obviously, death match.
I have a question. What is a death match?
It's a extremely brutal last man standing match.
Okay.
A real death match is you're actually supposed to pin your opponent for the 3 count, and then they have to be down for 10 seconds. Now, the death match is the last man standing rules for us. If you go out there, and I've been in several. Chris Jones, twice. Fletch, twice.
There's one time in ACW we had a death match.
One,
Alright, sorry.
Nick Cheney. I was in one with him. Let's see. The death match, you just go out there and beat the shit out of your opponent. Till he can't stand. And that's mainly what it is.
Okay.
Fletch. What one's yours?
Honestly,
But I do also like the Money in the Bank. That concept is nice.
Yes. it is.
Or something we can't do. That we Elimination Chamber would be awesome.
I remember that.
I'd jump off a chamber.
I'm a big fan of the trunk matches. I really like trunk matches. Chris has been in every single one of them. But trunk matches is just it's something like it's like a casket match, but your opponent just drives off, or your opponent puts you in there. Boom, you're out. You're gone. That's one of my favorites. I also really like First Blood match. I really like First Bloods, and of course the death match will always be top dog. But First Blood matches are brutal.
Another one I also love is Kendo's.
Kendo stick matches. We haven't seen very many of them though.
All right, I have a topic now. All right, XCW bloopers.
Chris Jones being the king of XCW bloopers, there was a show in 2005 where Chris Jones, you were wrestling, I believe, Hazard, right? Chris went to run after Hazard, and it was slippery. It was a slippery mess anyway. And Chris went to run to do a kick to the back of Hazard and tripped over the mat. And I mean, he didn't even. It wasn't like a trip, like your foot get caught trip. It was his feet went flat down on the mat. Another one that you got to think of is also in 2005. There was a match. There was a tag team match between it was myself and DTC against the tag team champions, Chris and Zero. It was Cold Day in Hell. Oh, actually, yeah, 2005, very beginning of the season. Cold Day in Hell. If you watch in that match right off the bat, I mean, wood, slippery wood. Can you imagine? First thing, I was gunning for Chris, and I jumped over the mat to get Chris, and shoot, boom, right on my ass. Very first move.
Fletcher's ass moment. Speaking of that, there was also a time you went to clothesline Vapor and you slipped and fell. And then there was the time that DTC just beat Azrael Knight in a tag team match. No, it wasn't a tag team match, but he just beat Azrael Knight, and click, click, boom, just blaring. You see DTC just walk off
October
back to the
16th,
shed, and then the camera turns back around and Fletcher's just jamming with the air guitar. Just fucking jamming.
There's also one from 2005 too. There was a match between Reefer and Hazard. It was the blindfold match in 2005. And if you honestly, and I don't even know if you know this, and I don't even know if and you've seen this show too, but Hazard's making his entrance. He's coming out to Lincoln Park, and if you watch really close in the background, you see Genocide holding on to each side of this porch, rocking back and forth, singing this song. Just some of the things that have been caught.
One of my favorites is I'm wrestling Lucifer, and he's got me in that arm bar.
And I laughed on
He starts
commentary.
laughing, and I'm supposed to be this Billy Badass, and Lucifer's got my arm all sorts of twists. He's not even doing it right. And you hear me, arm, and you hear him start laughing, which in turn starts making me start laughing, which in turn is built into the day of Hazard loving pain, because I started laughing when I'm supposed to be in pain.
One of my favorite ones was that promo with Reefer, and he tripped in the pool and I fucking died.
And what people don't know is Reefer was really drowning.
That's what
But can you really consider that a blooper?
Well, kind of.
The fact that he was drowning, yes.
He was hot.
But
Another funny moment, it's not actually a blooper, but we take pictures sometimes, and pictures capture the best things. There's one time we were doing a battle royal. I think it may have been the one where I won. I'm not positive.
are you talking about the Vapor?
Yeah.
That was the television title that DMAC won.
Alright. But you were in the match, and Vapor is running in there to get you. And the camera sees Vapor like the hurricane.
I remember that.
One of the best ones, though, is D-Mac. He climbs up, he's about ready to do his freaking jumping, and he slips on the porch, racks himself, falls out. And you just hear him down there, oh!
Another blooper.
Or, you kicked me in the gooch!
We were in a practice. It wasn't even a show. It wasn't on camera. But we had this trampoline at the trailer park. I'm jumping on the trampoline. I try to jump from the trampoline to the shed. The trampoline collapses and I just against the shed.
There's been several times where Fletch has been jumping on the trampoline over there, and one time he fell and the trampoline went with him. That wasn't on camera.
Alright.
Oh shit.
William, hold on. That could go on all day. We haven't heard many of William's topics.
Which one here? A lot of mine are basically,
Have been spoken.
well,
That's what happens.
And it's got to be tough for him not knowing much of the history.
That's what's so good for him right now. He's get to hear all these.
that was the main thing I was talking to Benji about earlier. I really don't know what to ask, what my question should be, but it's about previous XCW because I really don't know anything. A lot of my stuff is asking questions about the future of the company, really.
But
I got a good one. What wrestler or wrestling match made you decide that you wanted to do this?
my biggest one of my favorite wrestling matches of all time is a 60-minute Iron Man match with Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart. I've always been a big Bret Hart fan. Always will be. I know Fletch seen a DVD of Bret Hart, kind of brought him down, but there's always people that you're always gonna like no matter what. And he's mine. That got me going, and I started watching wrestling in 1994. That's when I really started getting into it.
Mine is kind of strange. Being a big guy, I always really liked watching, big guys. And honestly, XCW, majority of our shows is about, extreme. And honestly, one of the biggest influences for me as a wrestler and, how I produce a show is based off of Bubba Ray Dudley. Bubba Ray Dudley was always somebody who was a big influence for me. Even to this day, he broke off from Devon and in TNA, and he's one of the biggest big guy wrestlers. I mean, he's not huge. He's no Yokozuna or anything, or Vader or anything. But Bubba Ray is he's so quick. He's innovative. He comes up with new things, and he's not afraid to do shit. Flaming table, cheese grater to the face, he don't care. And that was somebody that always stood out to me. And he's somebody who never even made it to the big times. He never made it anywhere. He was always a tag team specialist, but that was somebody that, to me, was a big influence.
Did you see Impact last week where him and Scott Steiner were fighting over who got the last word?
No.
It was a promo. It was pretty funny.
Okay,
Bubba Ray, probably, and Bam Bam Bigelow was another big. That was one of the best big guy wrestlers ever.
okay, for me, I know you're probably going to be shocked about this, but it's not Hulk Hogan. Because this is going to be the funny thing. I didn't know who the hell Hulk Hogan was until 1994 when he came to WCW. I didn't know who the WWF was until 97.
That's pretty much the same. I knew WCW first.
That's all I knew was WCW. And I was always
You guys missed out.
I was always a Sting fan, a Lex Luger fan, Arn Anderson, the Four Horsemen. I was always fans of them. My favorite match that stuck out to me was Great American Bash 1990 when Sting beat Ric Flair for the NWA World Heavyweight title.
That's mine. That's mine too.
I'm sorry.
It's
It was
fine.
like-
That's my match too.
It was like,
How cute. Are they gonna
I
get
mean,
a date?
Sting, Ric Flair. You can't get no better
I
than
need
that.
coffee.
WCW died in '96. That's all I have to say. WCW died in 1996.
it died.
Ways going the same way.
It died in late '99 when Vince Russo and Ed Ferrara went to WCW. That's why it got killed.
No, it died when
Because-
the NWO was crammed down your throat. The show would start, welcome to Nitro, boom. You'd have a worthless match with Disco Inferno, and then after that,
Couldn't go Birdie is fucking cool.
okay, so you got Disco Inferno, and then you hear wow, 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 wow. Okay, and you got an NWO match.
Forgot
Okay, and
Alex
then
Wright.
they would do something stupid like a Lenny Lane match, a squash, and then bam, 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 bam. Then they cut the commercial. You come back. This is a paid advertisement. Bam, 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 bam. I was so sick of that goddamn song that I could have killed Eric Bischoff. I could have. Seriously, I thought about going to Atlanta, finding Ted Turner, and blow his fucking brains out.
You forgot.
WCW was terrible.
Forgot Alex Wright.
I would have rather have watched Glacier than to watch the New World Order. I mean, they ran it in the ground so bad. It was just like if our show, if we made a team of the Untouchables, everyone, we were all part of the Untouchables, and the only one that was not a part of the Untouchables was Colton Kravitz and Max Destruction. And then every single match you hear the same song over and over again. I just could not handle that.
Drive me crazy.
Okay.
This is about XCW, guys.
Chris?
Alright, this is kind of funny. I got a little story. The very first actual wrestling I remember watching, it wasn't on TV. It was previously recorded, obviously. It was WrestleMania 3. But Hulk Hogan and the Ultimate Warrior was the very first wrestling match I remember watching.
That was 6, by the way.
My bad. Because I don't know about you guys, but I totally sported the Ultimate Warrior underwear. And I even had the little string,
Guilty.
the little fucking string things. I ran around screaming.
I was Halloween one year. I was Ultimate Warrior, Intercontinental title.
Ran around screaming Ultimate Warrior all the time. And I remember watching that because that's when I jumped off the arm of the couch and elbowed my grandma on the shoulder and broke her collarbone.
Let's go, Vapor.
Oh, wow. Probably my biggest influence to go into wrestling was The Rock. I mean,
Hence the.
yeah, it's based off what I do.
Can you do the eyebrow? Let's see.
No, I cannot.
I can.
And just have, when he comes out, the electricity of the crowd and shit, just gets me pumped up. And
I'm going to automatically assume yours is Sting.
Yes.
Sting and Flair, as he said.
I said more than that.
What was it? 98 Halloween Havoc, where Sting finally took the title from Hogan. That was a big.
Starcade 97.
Starcade
Bret
97?
Hart was referee.
Bret Hart came in and
Okay, yeah.
Another topic, Vapor.
I got one.
I got one topic too.
Okay.
I got a topic too.
And I'm sure this is on it's on his, I know for sure. I know you would think of it, and I know you would too. 3 worst gimmicks in, or not XCW, but in backyard wrestling history.
Shelbyville Backyard Wrestling.
Mine, Mel Mall.
No, Tiger Mall, yeah.
Motherfucker bit me on the hand. That's why you don't have autistic people wrestle.
Nemesis.
See, I defend Nemesis. If Nemesis would have played his character,
Okay.
it would have
Josh
been.
Clarkson,
It would have
whatever.
been. It would have been one of the
I
best
see him
characters.
still begging you to. If
Yeah.
he's still.
And who's your third?
My third was probably before Ryan Wet Dream Riggs. He was called Reefer. But those Mel Mall. Horrible.
Mine, I would have to say SWAT Man.
I'm
Was
SWAT
a
Man was
joke.
fun.
I'm a SWAT.
SWAT Man is
I'm a SWAT Man fan. Sorry.
Captain Crook.
I'm good at
His character was based off of the fact that he had a crooked eye. I mean, give me a
He was
break.
funny.
My mom could have been his manager.
The Rubber Band Man was one of them that I didn't understand. He debuted in the end of the 03 season, did the beginning of the 04 season. What the hell? Rubber Band Man. It was based off of a T.I. song. That was a pretty shitty gimmick. I'm
Good
not
T.I.
gonna lie.
song, though, just want to clarify.
There's only 3 of them.
Phantom was another bad one. What exactly was Phantom? And he wanted to be called Phantom 33 or something like that.
Scott Pippen?
To start, what is a Phantom 33?
This might surprise you. Alright. In order from third worst, second worst, first worst. My third least favorite gimmick ever would have to be my very first gimmick. I came in 7 seconds, won the hardcore title. I won the belt. 2 matches later, I get unmasked. That was my third least favorite gimmick ever in the history of wrestling. Second least favorite gimmick, I'm going to have to go with J-Town. Or just all together, rerun period. Rerun
I can see
period.
that, yeah.
Which, he would always come to our shows, write down little notes. Me, Dylan, and Kurt would go over to his house or whatever, and he'd be like, man, I'm going to start WIW, and I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
And then, my least favorite gimmick, I'm probably going to say Nemesis. Just because I don't think, I know I'm wrong in certain situations. I was wrong. I thought James Cerebral, I thought he was going to fucking suck. I told you I thought he was going to fucking
He
suck.
did. Well, as soon as I trained him, he's not going to make it. He's terrible.
But Nemesis, I trained Nemesis. He ain't gonna fucking make it. I mean, me and Fletcher could have a fucking bag attached to both of us, and we can't carry him through a whole fucking match. Period. I know he says you can make your character. He's garbage. Nemesis needs to be someone else that can have wrestling skills. Give Vapor a split personality like Blade had. He can be Nemesis and Vapor. But Josh Clarkson, fucking horrible.
My 3 would have to be Nitro Boy.
Yeah, that one was pretty bad. So was Donnie Dark. I'm not gonna lie. Donnie Dark was pretty bad.
J-Town, by his reasoning, and Ratitude. Fuck that guy.
Even though Ratitude probably he is one of the best at mic skills. He can come out and he'll just spiel something at me like, really? It's like the old Ultimate Warrior. Ultimate Warrior. Yeah, what was that? But he made it believable.
But still, just the whole thing. It's
Ratitude just sucked as a wrestler, though.
We'll go with Melmal. Okay. We'll go with Corruption. That was bad.
Yeah, that one was.
And Milfucker.
I don't know. Stacy's mom does have it going on. I did Stacy.
I mean, wow. I'm just speechless with those 3.
I also don't like Dorgon. I'll just throw that one out there. I'm not too big on
I
Dorgon.
rip off of LOL, I think, to be honest.
It's Japanese. Dorgon.
What do you think?
What do you guys think of Jeff Busker?
I love Jeff.
Jeff can stay around for a while.
What do you think? No, it's been a short period of time. You've only seen a certain amount, and with the success of 2011, it's got to be tough. But can you at least give us one?
I could probably give you 3, but
Okay.
I don't want it to get personal.
No, just speak your mind.
I'm not a fan of Brandon Hobbs.
I don't think anybody is.
I just don't.
I've never wrestled Brandon Hobbs in a singles match, just want to clarify.
I don't.
Okay, you got
What was
one.
he, Eternal or Dead? I can't. Which one was it? Which one is it?
Dead.
I didn't like the whole. I just didn't like anything he played.
The Back
So
to the
that would
Future.
be
Dorgon.
all 3.
Dead Darkness and Brandon Hobbs. It sounds like.
And if I had to pick 4th, I'd say Nemesis. Everybody's opinion on Nemesis.
What's your topic?
My topic is places, spots, all the spots that we've done.
It's another one of mine.
I mean, we went.
I think right now where we're at is one of the most comfortable. It's not exactly comfortable for me because I'm always feeling like, she's gonna come out. This is this.
I don't give a fuck if I'm on guys.
She's a stickler, she's a stickler, so she's firm, but it's very comfortable. It's it's put together very well, and people know what to expect and what needs to happen there. Maybe our only downfall would be for a large crowd to come and watch. There's not enough room, but show-wise, it's very comfortable. It's very well put together. You can see signs, wherever. But probably overall, one of my favorites was on Southwest Street in 2005.
I missed the house.
From July of 2005 to January 2006, we wrestled there, and one of our best shows ever came from that.
1622. I'm gonna have to go with Mobile Home Villa, the trailer park. And I have, we had the curtain, we had the fog machine, we had the shed we came out of, and just the whole porch aspect made me feel like it wasn't a ring, but made me feel like I was in a ring. It had
I did love that
it
aspect.
had the four corners.
Something I loved.
You could have the battle royal get thrown over the top. Just I think
Second and third rope, you know.
overall that's my favorite spot.
I have to agree with you on that spot. Because it did make it feel like a ring. Even though when we first got there, we only had a tiny little mattress that was
No
like
padding.
this freaking thick. But as it progressed, we got more and more comfortable with being there.
We also have concept shows now. The Gridiron Gang's coming up in 2012. It's like a team warfare show, and we're obviously gonna have VK3 against the Untouchables. We also have Extreme King with the huge battle royal. The Viewer's Choice award show for the year.
I think we should have.
What is your favorite concept shows?
Mine's. I think
You also got to think Summer Mania has the King of the Mountain, and Halloween Havoc has the Money in the Bank, and that's included. But what shows?
mine would be Extreme King. Not just because I won, but it's just like it just makes you feel more homely and all that when you've got everybody there. Shut up! It's my opinions.
We're there every show.
Oh.
I'm
do you
gonna say the opposite of what you said about you winning at Extreme King. I'm gonna go with SummerMania.
He's never won a Summer Mania match, nor has he ever beaten Chris Jones.
But I just
Throw that
like
one out
that because it's our biggest show of the year,
Yeah,
and it gets everybody hyped up for it to go out there and try
go
to
big or go
make
home
it.
with Summer Mania.
Exactly.
Also, Halloween Havoc, two pretty big go home shows for us, I think.
All right, my favorite. I like Viewer's Choice Awards, and back to a topic earlier. Mentioned something about something we could do to make XCW better, maybe. Something that's clearly random. Kind of like a cyber type thing where it's randomly picked. Matches are random. That can make it more interesting.
We've actually talked about that before, where it's voted on what that match is going to be, and
You could have genocide versus.
there's actually going
Baby,
to replace the
and
Night of Champions.
We could do that. There's a show coming up that's brand new this year, and there's not much to it yet. And maybe that's something that we could do. There's a show called High Stakes. And
Yeah. Have Fletch versus Colton Kravitz probably now. Just completely random. I think it'd be fun.
we could do an as voted by on xcwwrestling.page.tl
As versus Deathball.
or maybe Facebook or Twitter. We can get some ideas from other people, and maybe they can vote on the match. We know that we're gonna have so and so against each other. What kind of match do you want to see? We could definitely. That's something that we could think of. And High Stakes, being a new show, this could be something that we could do.
And even if I think we need to throw fucking Smoke Buddy in there. I mean, hell, Smoke Buddy is almost undefeated. Okay, he lost a blade, barely.
What do you think? What's your favorite concept show?
I have two because I've had big moments in both of them. Halloween Havoc, because I just recently won Money in Bank there, debuted there, and Summer Mania, because I've had so many death matches at Summer Manias. That was one of my last matches before I went out. It wasn't my last match, but
What do you think? You've been a part of two pretty big shows, Summer Mania and Halloween Havoc, two biggest of the year.
I'd have to go Summer Mania.
Summer Mania just has a feel to it, I believe. Summer Mania's.
Even though Mr. HWW stole Halloween Havoc. Anyway.
One good topic we could talk about, and it can go like real old, is our logo, how it's changed over the years.
What do you guys think of the logo now? Obviously,
honestly,
it's not up at the moment, but
It just was actually.
my favorite one really is one where you had the thing and it went down, you had the X through it and the C and the W.
our second logo.
That's probably my favorite one.
What do you think of the logo? Yay or nay? Should we do something new, or is this logo what works for you?
I like the Facebook picture logo. I don't know.
The one that's on your old trailer wall.
Mm-hmm.
It's got the X.
I wonder if
It's
anybody
kinda
ever actually
slashed
painted
through
over
and
it.
CW. Yeah, it is. It's gone.
Sad face.
Honestly, I'm gonna say the logos got better with time. I'm a pretty big fan of our logo now. It's something creative and something that really hadn't been done. I mean, WWE never stacked W's on top of each other with an E through it or anything, you know. So to me, XCW's logo now is a pretty nice logo. I gotta say, I really like the logo.
Alright, I have a topic. Alright.
It isn't Chris Jones, is it?
No. This isn't character. Oh, I forgot. My character is me. Anyways, what is either wrestler or wrestler that influences your character the most, or what wrestling company influences your character the most? Personally, for me, honestly, this is gonna sound like a surprise, but what made me, I started wrestling around with my uncle, of course, around the house before I started wrestling with you guys and everything. The Filthy Animals and the Natural Born Thrillers, they're not the best wrestlers, but they made me enjoy wrestling. They made it fun. And then, of course, Randy Orton and AJ Styles nowadays.
I think my character itself is completely original, and that was always something that I brought up over parsley in BYWE and UIW, was the fact that XCW was completely original. You don't hear Chris Jones or Vapor coming out to a Randy Orton theme song. Rarely do we do things like that. We had SWAT Man come out to a version of Scott Steiner's at some point.
Joker came out to Too Cool.
Yeah, Joker come out to the Too
But
Cool
now he's
theme.
got his own.
Right.
You came out to John Cena.
How about the John Cena and B Square get it right?
My character is based off of two, really meshed together.
Well, that influenced you to be your character.
They have. My character is Mick Foley and a JBL mesh. Because if you think about it, clothesline from hell. Mick Foley loves hardcore, that's where I came from. But the person that has inspired me to really do what I do would be Bret Hart. He, back in his glory days, was one of the best. But there's only one person that could ever carry a company through an entire age without nobody, and that's Shawn Michaels. He carried WWE when WWE didn't have anything.
Stone
So-
Cold Steve Austin.
Yeah, but he had help. He had Shawn Michaels. He had
Well,
Bret
I'm
Hart.
saying Stone Cold was in that age.
Later.
Flipped over.
Well, yeah, let's talk about one of Vapor's topics here. Especially, I know you're left out of a lot. I'm sorry, but technology and the way the shows are put together, and how that's changed since the 2003 season. And you got to say that XCW honestly is technology. The technology in this company and has surpassed anything that's ever been done in Showville Backyard Wrestling. We're the longest running and the most successful. But and there's been plenty. There's been BYWE. There's been the Rolling Wrestling Federation. There's WIW that never got off the ground.
Had one show.
EBW. David Drake had a show for a while. There's been, but technology and how that's changed since day one.
I mean, because when we first, back in 03, we didn't have nothing.
And there's no
We
camera.
had
There's a little boom box.
And then we finally got a camera.
And even this year, this season alone, 2011, has been a big jump in the way that the shows are
For
produced.
years, we were just had a decent sized boom box and the camera, and then nowadays,
Now you got
You
iPod.
don't see this.
No.
You know?
Nowadays we got an iPod and a laptop. Back in the day, I remember when we'd bring big books in and. Alright,
Yep.
we wrestling today.
CDs.
CDs with Yeah, the
Burn.
mixes.
Don't turn up to that, it'll skip.
And then
Yep.
then the matches were on paper, and now they're on your laptop. And you just scroll down.
Before we go out, all the matches are listed on the laptop now, and that's something new to 2011 even. The music is put on a playlist straight from an iPod. It's got better quality. Even Viewer's Choice this year was done in a playlist on an iPod when it used to be on a cassette tape.
Yeah.
Yep.
Every year was ran by a cassette tape.
You gotta stop it in time before next song plays.
That's right, yeah. The cameras have gotten better.
Hazard's camera that got broke and cut
Yeah.
off half of our Greed show, and then that kid that at Eddie and Chastity's house knocked the camera off, so I hit him with the kendo stick.
Dylan's camera. I hated that camera.
It made that.
Well, at least it was a camera,
What do you guys think about the names at the
So
bottom?
I was about to say, now we got nameplates and the XCW logo down at the bottom, and then he plugs us on the XCW thing. And
Twitter,
Now-
Facebook, website itself.
We're getting big on the social media stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's a better thing because we're branching out more and more, and all that to people.
A lot of people don't like some of us branching out on the social media network. I did receive, a few months ago, a really shitty Facebook message from Damian Cole. I'm not gonna lie, it was really, really shitty.
I'd like to hear this.
He sent me a shitty message like, "Oh, you're still yarding. You could wrestle with us, blah blah. And now you'll never wrestle. You'll never do anything. No one's ever gonna like you." And just like it was like a 6-page fucking Facebook message because I tried to add him on Facebook. That's promoting you. I can wrestle better than you, I think.
I
a
can
lot of
agree with
people
that.
can.
He's the Tommy Dreamer.
But he gave me a really shitty message for no reason of social media networking. But he's just jealous because I'm taking off.
But you just got, XCW's jumped quite a bit. You look at the production of a 2004 show, we couldn't have done a 2-hour show to save our life, nor could we produce a show so well. And you also got to think about how a lot of the shows are done backwards. Promos are done, after the show is finished.
Yeah.
And for it to be produced and put in order is something strong on my part.
And now instead of everything being stuck on VHS, we went to DVD. So it's even
DVDs
better
this year
quality now.
started in August to start putting them on. We even went as far as EBW is now on DVD.
Mhm.
Oh, great.
Hey, it helped develop some wrestlers.
Like the time I kicked that thing rough.
Yeah.
The time you kicked someone kicked a rock at my brother's nose.
Benji got stuck.
What is the favorite season that you were a part of in the XCW?
2004.
And why?
It was my big debut. I debuted April 16th, 2004. I didn't know you. I knew you, but I hadn't really talked to you in a long time. I didn't know Benji that well. I just knew Benji because I wrestled with Parsley, and I didn't know anybody except Ryan because I made fun of him since the 3rd grade. And then I go into the power title match not knowing anybody wrestle. My big debut, winning the power title, winning the world title. Just a lot of epic moments for me happened in 2004.
I have 3. Okay.
He asked for 1.
Well, I gotta have 3 though.
Okay, go ahead.
2003, because we started and we were growing and all that. 2004, because it got bigger and bigger as each day progressed, and this year. Because this year surprised me with all these people in here giving their all to make this company better.
I would have to say 04 for me. And actually 2009 and 2011. Big years.
I'm gonna go with say 2003 because that was my start, and then this year actually come back when everything's big and better now. Back.
Yeah, and the strength of this season has, something that this season was something. I'm telling you, it was something I did not expect. What do you think? What's yours?
Probably the whole Southwest Street season, 2006,
2005, 2006.
because that was a big year for us, really. It's when Extreme really got brought in.
Agree.
And then this year, make my big return, back in, and there's a lot of better talent now that comes into play.
I have an interesting topic, and this is really interesting, I promise. Does anybody have any pre-match rituals?
I pray. Especially even harder before a death match.
Yeah, what most people don't know is when me and Hazard went to our death match, we stood up in the shed, and at the clubhouse, we didn't talk to either person. We were both up there normally. We're like, okay, we're going to go out, we're going to do this, we're going to finish like this, we're going to do this. We were completely silent the whole time.
And what makes it even funnier is you could hear everyone down there wrestling around on the mat, just goofing off before this because no one knew what to expect.
Yeah, me and Roddy up there praying. And what most people you don't really get to see, like, I don't know if you noticed, I kind of, did it blatantly in front of the camera on accident. But if I'm going to do something real quick, I cross my chest every time. I don't know if you caught that in the camera last show, but when I got ready to do the backflip, I don't like this, I don't know if the camera caught that, but before I do something crazy or stupid, I always do that.
All right, let's do a couple more. Let's wind it down. Is there any wrestler from the past that are no longer in the XCW that you could wish that could be here now, and who could still be a main talent in the show?
D-Mac. He is somebody. Granted, a lot of people didn't like D-Mac as a person.
He hates spiders.
He was honestly one of the best wrestlers we had natural talent that could come in like Zip and like Tommy. He was just somebody that was one of the people that started with XCW going in and going hard.
But you did say.
Well, I know he's away right now and everything, but I want Cynical back
I can see that. Yeah.
because he's like you, okay? He can cut a promo. He can do a good match. It's like he's there. He's like perfect in every single way when it comes to doing stuff in the show.
What do you think?
I'd take
Vapor?
mine back, Dylan Bostic.
Motherfucker.
I'm gonna go with another talent, Tommy.
Tommy Merriman. I can agree with all three of those so far. So yeah. What do you think, Chris?
I was gonna say Dylan just because no one said Dylan yet. I'm gonna go with Stingray just because Hazard didn't say Stingray. I mean, Stingray was good. He'd come in, he could do a match, leave, come back. A month, two later, come back and still do another good match at the top of the charts.
These
so.
are all people that I absolutely agree with.
I was sad when Tommy and DTC weren't around. I thought
Yeah.
those two guys.
Because DTC
really
got
helped.
way better.
Yeah.
Well, you gotta admit, he sucked at one point, and you have to light a fire under someone's ass sometimes. And
I agree with every single one of those, and those are all the guys that I wish we could have. I also would have to say Psychor is a top guy that I would like to have back. Tsunami is the one person that I wish we could have had more with in the
that's one
XCW.
show.
Yeah.
XCW off camera.
Yeah. And honestly, as weird as it is, I wish we could bury a hatchet and it would be possible for Justin Parsley to work here. But obviously
Depends.
he cannot function with us. It's got to be his way. He's got to run the show. He's got to be controlling, and he's a dick.
We tried.
And if he could work with the XW, and he could, if he could just work with us, that would be something that would be great for the show. And Nick Cheney is another one that I really like. That would be great for him to stick around. Those are all people. Let's wind it down. What do you think it's going to be like in 2012? What's going to happen with the XCW? Are we gonna fail halfway through? The season's going to end. Do you think it's going to progressively get better? Are we going to get new talent? Where do you think this company is going to go next year?
I want to start this question. I won't let this company fail. I love you guys too much. I love being a part of this group. I
We
really do.
accept paychecks.
So do I. But I really love being a part of this group. It just makes me happy
It
to know
tickles you.
that, yes, it does. It tickles me in the right spot to know that there's,
Sorry. I wish I could get tickled in the right spot.
Come over later, Roddy.
There you go.
Yes! There you have
That
it.
there's a place once a month that I can go and get away from life, get away from this world, and have fun with a family. This company is a family, and it feels that way, like Fletch said.
Our family.
It feels like it. It really does. It feels like we're just a bunch of brothers hanging out, having fun, and I love it. And I won't let this company fail. I'm not gonna let it happen.
What do you think, Christian?
I'm gonna go last for this one. I'm gonna have it.
I think 2012 will
Don't cry. Don't cry.
will surpass 2011. Honestly, I have a feeling that everyone's going to stay out of trouble this time. Everyone's going to be loyal to the XCW family. It's all about the passion, not the money. Hashtag it.
Yeah.
I just feel that this season's just going to be really a breakout year. Bigger than the 2011. Bigger than the 2003. It's just going to be the year that XCW makes it. I don't think this could ever fail.
What do you think?
I agree with what he said, and I'm going to go with something from what you said at the Viewer's Choice Awards about Superstar of the Year. Granted, you won it, and there was a lot of us in there that have been here for a good while that probably could have won it, and we had a whole bunch of new people. I think this next year, even though we are in it still and everything, I think this next year all these new stars will break out and they will make a name for themselves. That's what I think. I think this next year will be their year to make a name for themselves and be the top star.
What do you think, Vapor?
I think that we're just going to get bigger and better. And then I think also we might be able to get a hold of some of the older guys we used to wrestle for.
Something that was one of my goals for the season
And
is
see,
to try and
maybe-
bring back older stars even for one show. Just relive some past, I want to be able to bring Cyrus and Little Pimp.
And then
And, I want them to see what is now, and how different it is from past seasons,
and then it might spark their interest to continue with it. And that would bring some of the old guys together now. And
Something I would like to see is more unity, more teamwork between everyone, more creative story writing, and I'm going to need help with that. That is something I've been creatively writing the show for 9 years, and it takes somebody like that, Chris came up with this idea, and I can build it into something else off of one little thing. Hazard could say, oh, well, we should have a promo where everybody is, all the mask characters are gathered around doing this or that, and then it sparks into something else. I'm like, okay, Scully's pregnant, and I want more creative, more high, tense, storylines. I want, some of the storylines that stick out in your mind are Chris and Tommy and the attack on his dad, and the dog being eaten, and Brandon Hobbs throwing the belt over the bridge, and the 401k papers. Those are the storylines that stick out, and we need more of that. And I also would like some talent. All the talent stay in the same, and to see a few new faces this year.
2013 Breakout Star of the Year sitting right there.
I'll be able to-
It's 2012
I know.
this year.
I'll be able to trade him that year too.
What do you think, Chris Jones?
Well, I don't think it's going to be easy. Running XCW has never been easy. I mean,
No.
there's always the conflict of interest, Me and Ryan didn't want to do it at one point in time, and it did stop for a few months.
Yeah.
And like, hey Chris, you want to come back and wrestle? Sure, I've been waiting. But it's gonna be hard because I'm not gonna be there for a while. I mean, I'm not saying I'm God or anything, but I'm gonna be gone for a while, so that's one less person to help the new people. They're throwing there with the new people. So I think that's just gonna inspire the new people to step up. Chris is gone. We need to do this, this, and this to keep it at this level. Because who else is gonna let you fucking? Who else is gonna jump off fucking roof besides you? All right, it's gonna inspire the new guys to step up their game to get to your level, your level, your level, your level.
So only success and only better than what has been previously done this season.
Exactly. And you gotta strive for it. It's definitely not gonna be easy.
As long as I think that all of this will happen as long as, every single person puts forth more into a show, constantly creative ideas. I mean, you may say, oh, I think we should do this, and I may say, no, stupid. Or, and I'll try to explain why. But, and me and Hazard's gone back and forth like that for years. Oh, well, we should do this. Well, that won't make sense because this person's face, this person's heel. I want characters to break out. I want people to know that Crisis wants the end of the world. I want people to know, what Vapor's about. And, how Carnage does create carnage. And it's something that we're going to work on this season.
It's gonna cause new people to step up and
So
become
no
leaders.
one thinks that this season will fail.
It's gonna cause a lot of new people to step up and become leaders. Because in a match, you got a leader and you got a person that follows. I think all the new people are gonna start being leaders.
Do you think they'll all be loyal to the XCW?
Mm-hmm.
Because if Colton Kravitz isn't, Fletch is gonna kick his ass.
Carnage don't get to him at freaking first show.
I think everybody will. I think they'll turn to figure.
All right. Well, I guess that does it for Men of Honor, episode 1. We'll be back here real shortly. We're gonna do Summer Mania topic for next show. We're gonna have special guest Hazard once again. Vapor is also gonna be here. Chris Jones and Crisis talking about Summer Mania. All right. Well, that does it for Men of Honor. Check us out on Facebook, also Twitter now, the XCW Showville, XCF&W on Facebook, and then our website, xcwwrestling.page.tl, and YouTube, when we officially get everything on there.
Or check us.
XCW Wrestling 1.
Check us out at your local Wendy's or Casino.
But thank you guys for being here. Thank you.
Shit sheet. Don't forget about the shit sheet.
Thank you.